here. Can you give us a little bit more? Thank you, that sounds more like it. I've got with me an interesting panel. I've got Maureen Makgolane. She is the Senior Manager for Remuneration and HRIS and Analytics at SALGA. Maureen, you can come on stage, please. Then I have Diana Mbatha. She is also Senior Manager, Organization Effectiveness at SALGA. Litha Mbokotho. Litha is our partner in the digitization process. He is the chairperson of Tsori Capital and Ornecy. And then we've got Zimasa Koyana. She is a director of corporate services at Senqu, local municipality. Thank you and welcome. So today we do want to bring a little bit of a different perspective in terms of the local government space and to some extent a bit about the public sector in general. And we're having this conversation on the back of an introduction of a government of national unity, on the back of the Auditor General's results on the municipal audit outcomes. So you have a bit of hope with the government of national unity, and we have a lot of worry and concerns and gloom and doom in terms of how the municipalities are performing. Well, it's a dichotomy we have to live with in all our areas of work and life. It's just that this one, where we live, it's so much in the public eye and everyone talks about it because it affects our everyday lives. But we're coming here today to say it's not all doom and gloom. And we do want to highlight and share with you some of the good stories and pockets of excellence that are happening, and certainly what SALGA is doing out there in the local government space to try and make sure that you ultimately get a better experience as a citizen of the country. And good morning to those that are joining us online as well. So just to kick us off, I'm going to start with you, Diana. And I also just want to showcase not only the work we are doing, but also the people that we have, you know. Diana has a background, many years in the private sector, and we brought her specifically for that background because we want to transform the sector where we are working. So with your background, Diana, can you please just reflect for us on the transformative initiatives that SALGA is implementing and why it was important to ensure that, and why these are important to ensure that SALGANs and the employees we work with actually have a great employee experience?
Yeah, hi everyone. So, you know, with the kind of HR we had previously, we had to take a step back and completely revolutionize the HR strategy. So that meant that if we wanted our employees to have a great employee experience, we tackled and grappled with each step of the employee value proposition. That took a while, but I think it was a worthwhile process. The first step we did really was to run a culture survey. I know we spoke a little bit about it previously, but it was really the first time that SALGA had a proper, deliberate culture survey that was seeking to clearly understand what employees were experiencing and how they were feeling. From that culture survey, two important things emerged. The employee value proposition. We even ran a campaign that says, we heard, we listened, and we are delivering, because they spoke and we listened. And we needed to understand what is it that mattered the most to SALGA employees. What made them tick? What made them want to stay at SALGA and contribute to local government? And with that information, with that data, we crafted our employee value proposition. Secondly, we cared a lot about them being psychologically connected to the organization. So we started to also run a survey around the net engagement score to understand where they are, you know. We don't want, obviously, disengaged employees, but we then want to know what can we do to make your stay worthwhile, your career grow in such a way that inspires the employees. So I just want to share slightly around our employee value proposition pillars. I think firstly and most importantly is the employer brand. So we wanted to make sure that SALGA has a strong brand, but I'll unpack them as I speak. That brand, we were hoping it will bring the second thing, a dynamic culture through the inspiring leadership that we have at SALGA. We have great leadership, but we needed to hone in that critical leadership skill to providing our employees with an opportunity to impact local government. It was interesting for me to come in from private sector straight to local government, not even national, but you know, it really is about an opportunity to make an impact. And obviously investing in our talent. If we want our employees to grow and to continue to be great, we needed to make sure that we invest in them. So we took the culture as the tree, and the branches that grew from the culture was leadership work. For the first time last year, we brought all the SALGA leaders together to share with them what employees were saying, so that they can start to discuss and agree on what they are going to do as leaders. I think also just around their own leadership skill, what culture taught us is that there are critical things we need to look at if we want SALGA to be a futuristic organization. And so we use that even for our leadership journey. The second piece around, and that's how we do dynamic culture, by the way. So the second piece around inspiring or investing in our talent is that we do normal learning, and we have talent management that creates different pools, and we give them then the learning. But we've started to look at strategic talent growth that is tailor-made for the different type of employees we have. Different job families, different levels. For instance, we have a big wave of line manager development program where we've taken out all line managers to tell them how to manage the SALGA way. It's about the self, how to grow, to be self-aware, how do you become the leader that you would also want, and how do you effectively manage your teams, especially bringing in the people practices, understanding organizational points that are important for managers. We found some managers would just look at their work and their teams, but some of us, if you're like me, finance is a foreign concept, you know. And so the line manager, for instance, development program did that. We brought about coaching for some of our leaders. And I think the talent management conversation or practice was implemented for the first time at SALGA 2 years ago. And in that, we really gathered a lot of data. It was quite interesting, even for our leaders, to understand what is this talent management, what do you do, what is that strategy, you know? And I can tell you, for example, we found gems, proper gems in SALGA. I'm sure we would all agree. One of the most important resources, energy, water, I think most of us, when we don't have electricity, we feel like pulling our hair, and water is the most important resource. But we found that there are people who are engineers in those fields, very scarce skill, but the important thing was that they were impacting local government. They would go out there to municipalities and help them. They would go out there to specific stakeholders, to try and create logical and timeous or quick solutions for the country. But all of that came through the practice of talent management. And now, we had to ask ourselves, how do we retain these people? How do we help them to continue to be dynamic? I think one of the other pieces then that helped us to retain the kind of people we retain is employee recognition. So for example, last week Friday, we had an event recognizing our top performers, people who go the extra mile in what they do, people who go over and above in saying, I care enough about our municipalities, about service delivery, although we are not in municipalities, but we are there to assist municipalities, and we are recognizing those people. And the kind of feedback that you get, people feel so overwhelmed about being recognized by the whole organization. So those are some of the issues, I think, the journey that we've been through in the past 4 years. I think we started this in 2020.
I'm hearing a number of firsts in what you're talking about, culture, talent. This didn't happen. And I'm hearing a lot about impact to municipalities. Unpack your EVP statement a bit for us. What is it about it that talks to the impact you are referring to?
I think in our EVP, we make a promise to our employees. And they've seen that we are actually delivering on the promise. And we say that the promise is for them, we will give them opportunities to make an impact, to grow their careers, to connect with key stakeholders. I myself am experiencing that, I think coming in fresh from private sector. I think that's the key thing about our EVP. And finally, we give employees that because we say more than anything, we don't do what we do because, it's our jobs, because we want to wake up and work and get a salary. It's because we have a real commitment towards our municipalities and towards our communities. All of us here live in a certain municipality. And so SALGA really does ultimately impact each and every one of us sitting in this room.
Thank you. Maureen, let's come to you. You are in the space of HRIS and analytics. So tell us, why was it important for SALGA to initiate the digital transformation of HR processes?
So it was important, looking back at where we come from in terms of HR systems. The legacy systems could not cater for all the HR modules that we needed. And due to the nature of the technology that was on those platforms, it was impossible to try and upgrade or even enhance the system. The other thing is that we realized that it was very costly to manage and maintain, and also lack of automated reporting and analytics. So we just needed to go back to the drawing board, to do some research, and also craft our desired state. What is it that we want? Diana here has been talking about the great HR programs and initiatives that we have been doing. So imagine if we don't have a system that can host all that information that we have. So we then realized that for us to move forward, we need an integrated cloud-based system that can assist us to deliver the management of the entire employee life cycle. Based on that, we then started, we did benchmarking, and then after all of that, we then chose Ornecy. The reason why we chose Ornecy is that it's cloud-based, which is what we wanted. It's integrated. We have all the HR modules, including payroll. So for us, it's a great achievement because we have a single source of truth. And also taking into consideration that about 75% of our workforce is externally based, that is, they go and support the municipalities. So with a cloud-based system like that, they are able to access the system anytime, anywhere. If they want to transact on the system, if you are a manager, you want to approve leave, you can do that from any device, anywhere. The other thing is, in terms of the system, it's customizable. If you look at our processes, we wanted to move away from paper-based processes and then automate the processes. So the nature of our business, we have a delegation of authority. So you'll find that we have multiple approvers, and then that means that we need to be able to customize the system to cater for that, and Ornecy has done that successfully. It's a cost-effective system, it's scalable, so we don't have to worry. In case our organization grow, we don't have to worry about space. And most of all, it has the automated reporting and analytics capabilities, so that we are able to automate our reports, we are able to build our own dashboards, and we get that with real-time data. And then it's because it's fully integrated with applications like your Power BI and your Power Query. So far, it's been a challenging journey. We launched in 2022, and challenging but very successful. And at this point, we are very confident and comfortable to share our internal successes with the municipalities and all the local government.
Thank you, Maureen. And here's the real case study here. We've partnered with Ornecy on this journey, and of course they're working with SALGA, not only with SALGA, but with other public entities as well, to say that these good things that Maureen and Diana talk about, how do we then take them to the municipalities to capacitate them also to do what they're supposed to do to deliver services to you. Litha, what has been the journey like? Talk to us about some of the challenges as a service provider, especially in terms of how digital transformation is professionalizing the public sector.
Thank you very much. Greetings to everyone. Thank you for the question. Let me start with the last part of the question. The issue of SALGA's digital transformation that contributes to professionalizing the local government has actually found expression in the draft national framework, towards professionalization of public service. His Excellency President Ramaphosa made a statement of support, citing that this framework aims to build a state that will better serve the people, that is insulated from undue political interference, where appointments are made based on merit. And he further says that all often people have been hired into or promoted to key positions of which they're neither suitable or qualified. And this affects the local government performance and also contributes to nepotism, political interference, leading to lack of accountability, mismanagement and corruption. So digital transformation is necessary for the professionalization of workforce. And digital transformation helps improve efficiencies, increase output, and promotes ethical, state-free of corruption workforce. The framework that I made mention of, it's got five pillars that are part of the value chain of professionalizing the public service workforce. So it talks about recruitment and selection as the first pillar. It talks about induction and onboarding as the second pillar. It talks about planning and performance management as the third pillar. The fourth pillar is continuing learning and professional development. And the last pillar, it talks about career progression and succession planning. So SALGA is at the forefront of digital transformation of local government and has partnered with Ornecy. Ornecy has developed locally a cloud-based end-to-end HR solution that is proudly South African, that is in all languages. We currently have presence in about 10 countries. We cover private and public sector. We cover a number of modules from your organizational management, where your org structures, your positions, and your job profiles are maintained. We cover your talent acquisitions, which talks to e-recruitment and onboarding, cover your personal data, your employee documents, assets, declaration, health, safety, and wellness, leave. We cover performance management. We cover employee development. We cover learning management, HR policies, and payroll. So this partnership with SALGA has actually placed a lot of emphasis on reporting and analytics. So the aim is to allow municipalities to be able to use data on the system to help make decisions and increase productivity. The end goal is to be able to use that data to focus, which is called predictive analysis, relating to workforce before things actually happen, and so that we can better plan and be prepared. So to date, SALGA has actually rolled out, together with Ornecy, has rolled out performance management module to a number of municipalities, and this will help improve efficiencies within the local government and provide performance management environment that is free from bias, driven by portfolio of evidence, allowing the performers to be rewarded and the underperformers to at least helped, trained, and corrective measures to be in place. This effectively will improve service delivery once it's fully deployed. In the context of this theme, I would say, it talks about the future of HR. I would say the future of HR is in this partnership of Ornecy and SALGA. So basically, in terms of the challenges, you spoke to the challenges. I think for us, the biggest challenge was inadequate planning. And this planning doesn't only talk to Ornecy. It also talks to the clients that we are targeting to deploy the system to. So we have to plan together so that at least we are aligned. And the second one was the lack of middle management and lower level support. So you'll find out that the system has now gotten a buy-in at the top level, but that hasn't filtered through to everyone within the organization or municipality. So then it creates challenges in terms of deployment. And the third thing that we've also experienced was that the project champions, their scorecard was not linked to the implementation, and therefore they wouldn't give this enough time to be able to succeed in the implementation. And then the other one was the resistance to change. Stakeholders preferred the status quo, and mainly because it's a new system and they were scared of it. So that also presented a challenge for us. And the last two were basically your data migration and data accuracy, and mainly because data had been captured in spreadsheets, in Excel, like basically documents, like Word documents. So the accuracy of it and how the data has actually been the form it was in, it required a data cleansing. So those are some of the challenges that we experienced during the implementation. Thank you.
Just picking up on the issue of resistance to change, why do you think that was the case? If you're thinking local government space, if you're thinking accountability, if you're thinking performance management, what were the particular issues around resistance to change on automation of those HR processes?
I think the biggest one was that the system is new, and one, they don't know, and it requires them to actually open up to learning. And two is that people could hide behind the current processes, because those processes are not measurable. So you don't have really portfolio of evidence that you can get in real time just by pressing a button. So the status quo worked for them, and hence, people have been complaining about service delivery. Now with this, digital transformation, it then brings in a challenge for them because now everyone has to be accountable. And things have to be measurable. You actually have to be able to prove that what you did, you actually did. And it sits in the system. And those that have got, rights to actually access will be able to access those through, the controls. Thanks.
Okay. Well, let's hear from a beneficiary of this process, if it really does do what we are promising should be doing for them. Zimasa, tell us about your municipalities to start with. Where are you? What size, nature of municipality are you?
Okay. Now, thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm from Senqu local municipality. We're based in the Eastern Cape. Our municipality is a very small rural municipality. In terms of square kilometer coverage, we're just under 74,000 square kilometers. And we have got 3 main hubs. That's how small we are. So our little towns, we've got only 3 of those. But as a small municipality, we have been known to have a big voice when it comes to clean administration and running a municipality. For the last 10 years, in 9 of the last 10 years, we've achieved clean audits as a municipality. Yeah, and I mean, if you look at our story, that did not come by accident, nor was there a magic wand in terms of doing that, but it just needed the municipality to take a decision that we're going to do things right for the right reasons as well. We started out where everybody started out. We had disclaimers at some point, we had adverse findings, we had qualifications and all of that, but we said, no, this is not what we want to be known for. There is one thing that we'd like to be known for, that is, we'll start with clean administration and everything else will follow. We'll use the lessons that we've learned from that process, from building up that process and sustaining that process. And once we are comfortable, we can then move and start sorting out other issues as well. If I share our story in terms of how we got there were really 4 things that we considered as a municipality. And I'm going to talk to them from an HR perspective. I know that AG audits are more financial, service delivery, HR, so different directorates. But because we are in an HR conference, I just want to share what we did to move away from the undesirable state to where we are today. Even in the last audit, we obtained another clean audit. So there are 4 really elements that we said, okay, let's as an institution work around 4 things. And if we do these things right, then we're gonna get to the desired state. The first one was, this needs to be led by politicians and also led by administration. But in terms of leading that, how do they lead that? It needed to start at the top, where we change the mindset and create a mind shift. So we needed to have an attitude that says we can do it. We might not do it overnight, but with time, with perseverance, we can do it. And that's what we exactly did. So leadership's main role was to get buy-in, get us moving, get us to have strategies that we would then implement and monitor those strategies in terms of what's happening now. And where there is support required, provide that particular support. The second one was then, but how are we structured as an institution? Is it going to allow us to get to what we want to do at the end of the day? So we needed to check whether our architect talked to what we needed at the end of the day. So the organizational structure became very critical in that context. And then there was the issue of accountability. That mindset that I was talking about was then that, look, if you want to run a clean administration, you must always be conscious of the fact that you're spending someone else's money and that you need to be prudent in terms of how you are using someone's money. But also, secondly, you needed to make sure that we have systems in place that would allow us to account. So the whole issue of PMS, I think we're one of the few municipalities that started introducing PMS to levels lower than senior managers, because at the time, PMS was only peremptory for senior managers. But we said, if we're going to be monitoring what we do and create some sort of accountability, we're going to cascade down PMS to lower levels as well. So when the staff regulations came out in 2021, directing municipalities to do that, we had long been in the game. And then the last one was then the control environment. In terms of the control environment, yes, we have policies, we have systems, we've got procedures in place, but did our people know about those? So we started making sure that we talk to them and we try and workshop people in terms of what are the controls that are needed to place and how do they apply, so that all the time they have to be conscious of the fact that how do these controls that I've put in place apply to my role as an individual. So that's what led us to where we are today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
PMS, by the way, is the performance management system.
Oh, sorry.
Just in case. So Zimasa, share with us, how has the implementation of Ornecy changed your lives as a municipality? How is it helping you towards delivering better service to your community?
Okay. So, as a municipality, we've got this attitude that we've got a social contract with our communities. And as you are aware, when you have a contract with someone, the two parties have got obligations. As a municipality, we've got obligation towards the citizens and they have got obligations towards us. But where do we get this contract? It's not something that we formulated from the top of our heads. It comes from the Constitution, so it is binding that municipalities must have a social contract with the citizens. And it's in Section 152 of the Constitution in terms of the objects of local government. So that was the first step, that we needed to have that mindset that we've got that social contract. But having that social contract also then means that in terms of your deliverables within this contract, that on an annual basis, you know what you need to deliver, and that you must monitor whether you are delivering what you're supposed to be delivering on an annual basis. So we would have an institutional performance that we would have, but that would then trickle down to individual performance. So in 2022, in the financial year 2022-2023, as an institution, we're not very happy about how we had performed in that year in terms of the contract that I was talking about. And we then had a step back to say what had happened, what had happened. And we then also as corporate services said, look, in terms of the things that we have identified that happened, maybe also us as the owners of individual performance did let down the municipality, because out of the targets that were set for us that in that particular year, we only achieved 93%, and the 7% unfortunately included PMS, where there was non-compliance with deadlines and all of that. And that non-compliance was not as a result of lack of capable people to do it, but it was for the reasons that my colleague here has just mentioned to you, that at that time we were still using paper-based spreadsheets and all of that. So it was a very daunting task for a lot of people. But there were a lot of things that were going wrong in terms of data, in terms of submissions, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, if I tell you at the end of that financial year, out of 54, in that financial year, out of 54 people who were supposed to conclude performance agreements, only 34 did. So you can see how difficult it was for us to do that. Then we came to an annual conference. In the annual conference, SALGA introduced Ornecy. and then said they were looking for municipalities where they could pilot this project. We put up our hand and we said we want to be part of that. So that's how it started. And SALGA then formed a team of people that worked with us. And, if I can tell you that from the minute we worked with them, they understood exactly what we wanted. They listened to us. They did not force down a system on us. They customized it to our needs. And we had a lot of engagements in terms of what we needed and how it was going to be achieved. But I think going back to also what my colleagues said, one of the things that we did when we came back from the conference, we involved senior management. We sold the idea to senior management. We involved middle managers. So we sold that so that, we could have buy-in in terms of moving from the system, because it is quite true, especially in local government, when you want to bring about change, you do get sometimes some form of resistance. So we didn't want that when we implement this system, that now we find that we can't because people are unhappy about what's going to happen, et cetera, et cetera. But also, we had a timing issue. The timing issue was that we only started working with them in May. So, and we wanted to go live in July. Our financial year starts in July. So in this financial year, we wanted to have gone live in this financial year. So we had stringent turnaround times. But the way they availed themselves to us, both SALGA and Ornecy, the way they availed themselves to us, they were part of the engagement with management, with staff at the municipality, and we got the buy-in that we wanted. And we did go live on the 1st of July. And this year, we saw an increase of people who complied with the first part, which is a conclusion of agreements, move from 34 to 49. So it did make a difference in terms of that. So we're still at the phase where we've just done that, but we'll see how it goes at the end of this quarter. But it's a really, really nice system, and I think they're very supportive. They are at our beck and call. Anything that we need, both parties are there available to assist. Thank you.
Okay. I like how you are able to link, a lot of the issues that end up in qualified audits is not because the work didn't get done, right? But because you can't find records, you can't find where is what to be able to account what you did with the public money that you were entrusted with. So, and how we are able to link this process with your ability to do better by your social partners. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask each of you to comment on what I'm going to ask, but also add in your concluding remarks so you can see the time. It means we've got 2 minutes for each person, right? So, Maureen, I want to start with you, Diana. You spoke about a lot of these new processes you've introduced. So just quickly reflect on what was the response from the organization? Because as I said earlier, you spoke about a lot of firsts. What was the response and how have you navigated that journey? And you can conclude about with what's exciting for you with this work you're doing and the journey going forward.
So at first, I think with any change, people were wondering, why is HR calling us for this engagement and that engagement, and what's this new thing? I think over time, because what we were bringing them looked like what they needed and what they wanted and what they were yearning for, then there was much interest, there was good feedback from across the organization. And we were even beyond what they received. We even asked to say some of these firsts that we brought in, can we help take it out to municipalities? So for instance, the performance management, the culture, even change management, the digital team said, as we implement some of the digital solutions in municipalities, we need your change management skills to come. So I think when employees internally saw how good the journey is, they wanted to take it outside. Look, we are not near where we want to be, but we are definitely not where we used to be. We are very far from where we used to be. In terms of me, look, you know, the thing about being in private sector is that most of HR practices are matured or near matured. It's something else to come into a completely new environment that doesn't have the right practices, and starting from scratch to design and build, knock on doors and engage people for buy-in, and eventually people are excited that they come and ask. For me, that's the most fulfilling thing. I mean, if I say my purpose is being a catalyst for change, and the great thing is that SALGA provides you with that opportunity to just change.
Thank you. Maureen, data analytics, workforce productivity. How is that panning out for you with your data in Ornecy? And also reflect on why is it exciting for you?
Okay. So when we started, we then had to identify the level that we were at in terms of the data analytics maturity. And at that point, we were basically at the lowest, which was transactional level. And with the implementation of Ornecy and the capabilities that it has in terms of reporting and analytics, I comfortably saying that at this point, we have managed to move from that transactional level up to the predictive analytics level, where we have conducted an exercise early this year. We did a turnover prediction exercise, and then based on the insights that we got from that exercise, we are then able to strengthen our retention strategies. So analytics really help us to make informed decisions. Diana mentioned that the EVP pillars were crafted based on the data and the insight that they collected from the employees to make sure that the EVP pillars are relevant. It talks to what the employees really value and want from the organization. And again, with that Pindi, like Diana mentioned, that at the start, the team started by doing the strategy for HR, and then with that, with analytics and with the data that we get from Ornecy, we are then able to develop the metrics that are relevant for us to be able to monitor the progress towards achievement of our strategic objectives. We are able to measure the impact of the HR programs that we do. And yeah, so the decisions that we take are basically fact-based, but not forgetting that there are key considerations that we always look at is that we need to have that analytic capability. We need to have the data that is of high quality, that is reliable, that is accurate. And the good thing on our side is that we do have all of that. We have Power BI. We can create our own dashboards that are interactive, and that is real-time data because it's fully integrated with our core system.
Thank you. How is the future looking like for you on your implementation journey, and looking at what other municipalities are you looking at bringing on board on this journey? And yeah.
No, thank you. I think the conferences like these, they help. One is just to create awareness so that at least people know that the challenges that they're experiencing, there are solutions out there to actually implement. So there's no reason for any municipality not to achieve clean audit. There's no reason for any municipality not to be in the forefront of the service delivery. So I think as Ornecy, we are quite excited about this journey. we know it's not going to be an easy one. There's still a lot of resistance in terms of even the workforce itself, adopting a new way of doing things. But we accept and embrace that challenge. And I think we are also excited about the potential jobs that as Ornecy we could be creating as well as we grow. I mean, we are in 10 countries, but if we are able to grow even within the country, we'll be even employing more developers than what we have. We'll be employing like business analysts more than what we have. So there's actually, quite nice prospects for the country, and we are excited. Thank you very much.
I must tell you, the good thing about working with Ornecy is that they are developers. So we are able to tell them, we want this, we want that feature. And then Shempoa them and Maureen, they come and tell me, oh no, we can't do this. And I'm saying, you can. Tell Richard. Tell Richard. The organization doesn't wait for them to figure out how to do it. They must do it because we want it. And they are able to. 2 seconds. Your closing comments.
Okay. Mine would be that, after the closing date and the closing time was 12 o'clock on the 31st of July. And on the 1st of August, when I walked into the office block, I was expecting to see grumpy people because they had stayed up until, you know how people are, they like leaving things to the last minute. But people were very happy, I was amazed by how happy they were that the system was user-friendly. We've got connectivity problems in our area, and also our infrastructure as a municipality still needs to be upgraded so that it can be compatible with most systems. But with this one, we didn't get that. Nobody said there were glitches in terms of I couldn't submit because there were glitches, because I think of the way in which it's set up, it's web-based. So, and people could access it from anywhere. So the municipality as a whole is very excited about this project. We're looking for other projects that would improve our other HR processes. Thank you so much.
So there it is, colleagues. If you're wanting to make a difference in our beautiful South African country, you don't have to work for a municipality. There's other platforms and opportunities you can do that. Thank you very much. Do we have time for questions, Leanne? Okay.